Hey everyone, in today's video, we're talking about what kind of value you actually get from your Social Security taxes. Is this a good investment? If you could stop paying in your part to Social Security and invest it instead, could you create as much income as your Social Security benefit? Well, we'll do a side-by-side comparison of your Social Security benefits versus investing it and find out. The results may surprise you. Stay tuned. Hey, I'm Devin Carroll, and on this channel, I break down Social Security, Medicare, and all things retirement planning and make them easy to understand. If you want to understand all of these rules and use them to your benefit, this channel is for you. So be sure to subscribe and click that notifications bell so you won't miss anything that I publish. So I get lots of comments about opting out of Social Security and investing the money instead. Since my research tends to be driven by curiosity, I decided to take a deeper look at the numbers and see which would work out better, investing the tax you pay in or just sticking with Social Security. To get the results, I made a few assumptions. First, I assumed that your goal would be to create income in retirement as opposed to buying a vacation house or something else that would require a lump sum amount. Second, I assumed that you took only your part of the Social Security taxes and invested it. So for a refresher, the total FICA tax is 15.3%. If you are an employee, you only pay 1/2 of that, or 7.65. Of that, 1.45% goes to Medicare and 6.2% goes to Social Security. It's that 6.2% that I assume you invest. Now, we could chase the rabbit trails of investing the full Social Security tax and a number of other things, but if opting out were allowed, I hardly think an employer could be compelled to give you an additional 6.2% to invest, at least not the ones that I've worked for. And ultimately, I wanted to look at what if you could invest the dollars that are currently taken out of your pocket. Then we assume a 7% return. Now, obviously, you may do better than this or not as well as this. At your full retirement age, you simply take the invested balance and use that to fund an income stream that would be equal to the amount of Social Security for which you would have been eligible. Now, there's multiple ways to illustrate the withdrawal, but the only way to keep it apples to apples is to assume that you're going to withdraw the same amount that you would have with a Social Security benefit. And then finally, I looked at multiple income levels while working in a job from age 19 to 66. To get a baseline, I used the National Average Wage Index, which is published by the Social Security Administration. The first income level was for an individual at 50% of the National Average Wage Index. Then I looked at 100% and then at 150%. For a maximum Social Security benefit, I also looked at an individual who would have earned the maximum taxable wages for every year he or she was working. With these earnings numbers, I used the calculator on the Social Security website to look at what the benefit would have been for each of these income levels at an individual's full retirement age. Then I increased that amount by 2% per year in retirement to keep up with the Social Security cost of living adjustments. That is the number that I illustrated withdrawing from the portfolio accumulated from investing the Social Security taxes. Now, I don't want to overcomplicate this, but at some point, there really is another assumption to consider. Once you retired, would you consider to get 7% return, or would you move your money to an investment that may not have as much market risk? I know a lot of people would probably go that route, so I wanted to look at two returns in retirement. So you would get a 7% return, hypothetically speaking, of course, and let's look at a 3% return. So now that you know all of the parameters and assumptions, are you ready for the results? Here they are. For an individual at 50% of the average wage index, the portfolio value would last beyond the average 85-year life expectancy if invested at 7%. If the portfolio received a 3% return, their income stream would run dry at age 70. This is because a lower income individual would have a larger Social Security benefit relative to the amount of taxes that they've paid in. So the withdrawal percentage would be higher for them. Next, I looked at an individual at 100% of the National Average Wage Index. At 7%, their money would last well beyond age 100. At 3% return, they would be out of money at age 84. And this is where things change. If an individual had earned 150% of the National Average Wage Index, they would see their benefit increase and would have more in their account when they died than when they started. At 3%, it would still last until around age 90. And finally, an individual who had earned the maximum wage base on an annual basis would see similar results, except this time they would never run out of money in either scenario during a normal life expectancy. Now, to make sure my numbers were right, I wanted to ask an expert, so I spoke with Dr. Brendan Renfro. Dr. Renfro is a finance professor and a general numbers guru. Here's what he said. So what are we missing? Is there anything that I missed in my research?
I wouldn't say that you necessarily missed anything, but there's always, anytime you're doing any kind of projection like that, you've always got to think about, what your assumptions were in the projection, right? And so I think some of the things that you might want to think about here, where you've kept it very clean, very streamlined and efficient, it doesn't account for variability in the return, right?
Right.
So you used a standard
7%, a 3%.
Yep. So
yeah,
obviously
and that's on the withdrawal side, correct?
Right. So obviously, it's not going to be that clean and consistent in the market. So you're going to have variation that, it's kind of hard to model.
Right.
But in a simple illustration like you've done, no, that's a reasonable way.
So what's the point of all of this? Can you opt out and invest it? Well, you know the answer to that. You can't do that. This is mostly a video to satisfy the curious who have wondered, could I do better on my own? It appears that the answer to that is tied to your income level. If you're lower income, it would be tight. But if you're higher income, you probably could do better on your own. Hey, remember, this is your retirement. Stay curious and stay informed. You're making the right moves by watching videos like these, but don't take this as specific advice for your own situation. Do your research, talk to your own advisors, and most importantly, continue to educate yourself. You can further your learning by subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. If you have already subscribed, it helps me tremendously if you hit that like button. And you'll see on this side of the screen another video for you to watch. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day.